Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the People Person podcast presented by Good Time Media. I'm your host, Wyatt. Today, I'm joined by my draft analyst, my draft specialist. I don't need Mel Kiper. I don't need Todd McShay. I have Josh Berman from the Next Network. How are we doing today, Josh?
Doing good. This is my third time on here, I think.
Yeah, I think we did like NFL preview. I had you on a while ago during COVID.
Yeah.
It's good to have you back. It's good to have you here. I'm gonna need you to talk me off the ledge because it's kind of set in now that draft season is upon me. This is the most important draft of my life. This is going to dictate how the next decade of my life goes, how much joy I have, how much suffering I have. I'm nervous. Should
I
I be nervous? Let's tackle the Viking stuff first, so people
yeah.
can skip ahead. How should I feel right now? Because I'm
So the
scared,
Vikings
nervous,
are in such a
excited, all
weird
of it.
spot. The Vikings are in such a weird spot because you look at the roster, they're a quarterback away. You just let the quarterback walk. But the only reason why I feel now that you're a quarterback away is because the money that you spent on your defense that you wouldn't have been able to spend if you kept Kirk. So it's like,
Exactly.
I mean, last year I felt like they were, and I was right, that they were just kind of a mid team that had a great offense. Their defense was awful. I liked Brian Flores, and I still do. I think he's great. But I felt like they were just a mid team. Now I feel like outside the quarterback position, they've gotten a lot better, but they've went from quarterback that I can trust to Sam Darnold. And now with the draft, the Vikings are in this weird spot where they're not in the top three. They have the ammo to move to the top
We're
three
not
if
in the
they
top
want
three
to.
yet. Yeah.
Yeah, if they want to, they can. I'll tell you that the last time I was this low on a quarterback that was projected to go as high as J.J. McCarthy is, it was Trey Lance, and that aged well.
Oh,
I
no.
do not think McCarthy is good. I think it would be, that said, neither is Darnold. So
It's true. Oh man, I spent all morning. I've been locked in on Drake May for the last 2 months.
Drake May, yeah, he's interesting because he is, if I just look at like historically how I analyze the drafts, because like everyone kind of has their style. Like there's certain players they like and certain players they don't like. Drake May is the epitome of the quarterback that I don't think is good. But for some reason, I see I don't feel that way about him. But he's the exact type of quarterback that I usually
Yeah.
don't like. And I can't put my finger on why, but I do feel differently about him.
That's
So
oh man, you're not helping. You're
I
not
know,
helping me right now.
because it's weird. And this is one of those years where there's all these quarterbacks, but the only one that I can look at and say, no, this guy's definitely a stud is Caleb. Like there's
Mhm.
no, I mean, I'm not gonna say that he's Andrew Luck because or Trevor Lawrence as prospects because I think he's a step below, but he is just a step below. Like I think his
Yeah.
ceiling is ridiculous. Jaden Daniels, I've talked about this with Michael, where the lazy thing to do with every quarterback that can run, they make the Lamar comparison. And
Yeah.
I the way I always do draft comps, I don't care about ability. Like if I can say that a guy is reminds me of Aaron Donald, doesn't mean I think he's going to be Aaron Donald. I just similar player style.
Yeah.
Jaden Daniels is the first quarterback that since these Lamar comparisons have started, where there's a quarterback coming out that say, you know what, this guy at least like he plays like Lamar. Doesn't mean he's as good. He could be better, he could be worse, he could be the same. I have no idea, but his running style is similar to Lamar. His throwing style is similar to Lamar. So I definitely see that in him. He is old, but like he's still gonna be good.
Yeah.
Drake May, I think, is just kind of your. I don't see the ceiling of just he's your guy for a decade, but I also would be surprised if he's someone that's terrible. Like I don't think
Yeah.
that's gonna be him. I think he's gonna be that not Kirk because I think Kirk is above that tier, but like the tier right below where Kirk was, which was like not only but good, like a good, solid, the way Joe
Yeah.
Flacco was for his whole career until the playoffs started, where something just happened with January Joe.
Yeah.
But it Drake May to me, I think is going to be kind of similar to that, where before he fell off, well, maybe that Ryan Tannehill, like he's good. He's nothing special, but I think he's going to be a good quarterback. And you can be that for 5 or 6 years until you feel like, all right, we need to upgrade this.
Yeah.
And then you move
Uh,
on.
this is
I
such a
love Kirk.
weird situation for me with Kirk leaving. Obviously, I haven't really done like a podcast talking about it since my initial reaction.
Yeah.
It is it's gonna be so nice to not have to defend Kirk.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, I love Kirk. I think he's elite. I think he's a top 10
Yeah.
quarterback in the league, no question. But even when you said that right there, you're like, Kirk, not elite, but he's good enough. My instinct for the last 5 years was to be like, no, he's the best, like
Yeah.
he's top 5. That's
Well,
my instinct. And now I don't
yeah.
have to do that anymore.
My definition of elite is also different than a lot of people's. When I talk about an elite player, I'm talking top 5. I'm not
Okay.
even talking like top 10. Because I can easily say, if you want to tell me that Kirk Cousins is a top 10 quarterback, I think I have him like 11 or 12. But if you want to tell me he's top 10, I'm
Yeah.
not going to argue with it. I think he's right there. But when I talk about elite, I'm talking Mahomes, Lamar, Allen, Burrow, Stroud, Herbert. Like, that's elite.
Yeah.
Anyone else not in that tier is very good, but I'm not talking about you in that. So that's
Fair enough.
kind of where I feel with Kirk.
Fair enough. I think I go NCAA basketball mind where I think Elite 8. So I was like Elite top 8. I
That's
don't
fair.
I just connect it. Um okay, with Caleb Williams, we'll kind of work back pick by pick. I just want to kind of focus on the first round
Yeah.
for all. I'm sure most of the listeners are pretty like casual, like first round locked in.
Yeah.
After that, it's kind of a
We're
crapshoot.
going. We're going to the draft this year. It's going to be fun.
That's awesome. That's so
It's
cool.
it's gonna be different than last year, because last year we got the credentials and we got to talk to the
Okay.
players and all that. This year we did not get approved for credentials.
Boom.
So,
Who do we need to yell at? Who's at
the
fault?
NFL for accepting less people,
All
because
right.
what we've been told, at least for the Super Bowl and the Combine, and we just assume that the draft is the same, which is that in this year, the Super Bowl and the Combine, the NFL just accepted less people
Got it.
for media than they have in years past. I'm like a random number. If last year they accepted 500 people, this year they accepted 200 or something like that. So, because I mean, what they told us was our audience wasn't big enough, even though it's bigger than it was this time last year. So clearly
Yeah.
they're just it's just gonna be tougher. But we are going because the content there is gonna be fun. It's just unfortunately we're not gonna be able to talk to players. We're not gonna get the media access, but we've got a lot. I've got a lot of cool ideas, and we are
Hell
bringing
yeah.
this tech guy this year, which is insane. This guy is awesome, and he's because we're gonna be on TikTok live the whole draft, and
Hell yeah.
we're just gonna do that. And we have these mics now that connect to TikTok. It's gonna be great. We're gonna have him filming. It's gonna be complete game changer. I'm really excited for that, and we're gonna do some cool, maybe more of the YouTube, like the sports YouTuber type
All
of
right.
thing with this, which is I know exactly how that works. I'm sure you do too. Michael did
Yeah.
not grow up on sports YouTube. He has no idea what I'm talking about. So I'm definitely leading the way here. He never was a YouTube guy. Whenever I rep like last year we met Jesser at the draft. He had no idea who he was. Michael had no idea. I was
Dude,
like, I've grown
Michael
up
just
on this guy.
knows, but Michael is like the stereotypical, just like tradition. I feel like he's like a traditional media guy,
Yes,
like
very much
locked.
so.
I love Michael. He's so, but I have to yell at Michael a little bit. Is he trying to kill me? Not his most recent mock draft. He finally came to his senses, gave me Drake May. But the mock draft beforehand, he had the Vikings taking Cooper DeJean at 11 and then Bo Nix at 23. And that ruined my week. It was an absolute week ruiner. I couldn't. I think I commented. I was like, Michael, you're trying to kill me. Don't even speak this into existence. So I'm glad he finally came to his senses, but I'm a little angry with him.
I
I'm
do
not gonna lie.
think it is an interesting conversation of like how what happens if the Vikings don't get a quarterback in
I don't know, and I'm so scared it could happen.
yeah, because to me there's multiple reasons I can kind of argue why you should or why you
Yeah,
shouldn't, because the NFC North now is really damn solid. I
it might be
really
the
like.
best division of football. I was gonna have
I
this
think
argument with
it's
you
the two
later.
Norths.
It's yeah. I was gonna say your division is up
Yeah.
there as well.
I mean, we were the last year we were the first division ever to have 4 teams with the winning record. And
Yeah,
the Steelers got better. Um, we were 7 points away from the Super Bowl. The Browns were incredibly injured last year and still pulled off what they pulled off. And I've said this, I've made takes on this before. I think the Bengals are the worst team in the division right now, but they're still they're still a good team.
yeah. So
As long as you
Joe
have Joe
Burrow.
Burrow and Jamar Chase, they're going to be good.
Yeah,
So the NFC North is weird because the Vikings don't You don't want to be mid
No.
because like that sucks.
That's all we have been though. That's my entire
Right.
life we've been like good enough. We have 1 year, we make a move, people think this is the
Yeah.
year, and then we're just below that line,
Yeah.
just missed the playoffs by a game. This feels like all or nothing where we have to get our guy.
But you don't need it right away.
But I
That's the
want
other
it. We
thing.
have we need Jefferson. We're gonna
Right.
lock
You
him
got to
up.
pay
Blank
him.
check. We're gonna pay him. Blank check.
Yeah, you
There's
have
no
to.
doubt in my mind he'll be here
I agree.
forever. But we have to get somebody.
There's no
There's
reason for me to believe that he's not going to be a Viking long
yeah.
term.
But if we ride with Sam Darnold for more than a year, then yeah,
Oh
like
yeah. Well, I
you
would think it would be a 1 year thing if they do that.
it has to be. But
Um.
we have to have a plan.
Yeah.
And the plan's got to be to get our guy. I've convinced myself whoever they want, I want. So
Yeah.
I'm not even tying myself to anybody as long as it's not Bo Nix. If we get Bo Nix, I'm gonna be in
That's
trouble.
fair.
I'm
I've
gonna
never
be in
been a Bo
trouble.
Nix fan.
Pray for me. Pray for me if we
I've
get Bo
never been a Bo
Nix.
Nix fan ever.
Maybe call me, check, make sure I'm still alive. It's gonna be bad. But well, okay, let's start. Caleb Williams talking to NFC North. How quickly do you think we'll know if this is gonna work with him? Is it gonna be like week one? He might make a few mistakes, but we'll see it, or is this gonna take some time? How quickly is he gonna adjust?
Well, I mean, you never want to judge a guy off his rookie year just because
Yeah,
you never know. But the thing with Caleb is, and again, I talked about before with these comparisons, it doesn't mean that I think you're as good. I just think that you play very similarly. He is the most similar to Patrick Mahomes out of any quarterback.
yeah,
Doesn't mean that he's as good. Doesn't mean he isn't as good. Doesn't mean he is. I don't know. We'll find out. I'm talking actual play style. It's very similar. When you watch Mahomes, especially early in his career, this dude made some of the most ridiculous plays you'll ever see, and the only reason why they worked is because he's that good.
yeah,
And if Caleb isn't that good, I could very easily see him being a guy that throws 15 interceptions in year one, but then he figures it out. I
yeah.
also could see him having one of the best rookie seasons of all time and changing the franchise around in 1 week or 1 year. I have no idea. I know how good I think he can be. I don't know how long it'll be. I mean, the Bears organization is what it is. It's, but like they've done a good job these last few years at building it, but I need to see it. I think they'll do it, but I can't say that they will until I see it.
Yeah.
But there's no reason for me to believe that they won't. They're gonna be he's gonna be good. The
No, I'll
question
give you a reason. It's the
how
Bears. They find
right.
a way.
That's
They
the
find a way
Browns.
to be bad.
The Browns for all these
Yeah.
years. And the Jets too. I mean, like teams like that. You never know. But
I've never existed in a world where the Bears are relevant at the quarterback position. Even when like I was tiny when they went to the Super Bowl, it was Rex Grossman. Like
Jay
no one's
Cutler is
telling
the best
Jay
quarterback.
Cutler's yeah.
Other than Sid Luckman, the only good quarterback they've had is
Yeah.
Jay Cutler, and he was
It's which is incredible.
yeah.
So I understand the excitement for Bears fans, but as a Bears hater, I'm like, you're still the Bears. You will be the Bears to me until you're not the Bears.
Same thing
So
with Cleveland. Same
yeah,
exact thing.
they have to prove to me otherwise. Um, and then we go to number two. Jane Daniels locked in.
Another team
Is
where
there,
I'll see you when I believe it.
you're right, right? Is Jane Daniels locked in? There's a
I
lot of
wouldn't
smoke
say
screens.
locked in, but I would say probably.
Yeah,
I'd say like more likely than not. I at this point I'd be surprised, but I wouldn't be shocked. It wouldn't blow my mind if Drake May goes number two. But in terms of what I think is gonna happen, yeah, Daniels.
gotcha. And then we get to the Pats where things really get
I
interesting.
think they go Drake May.
You don't think they'll trade out?
I think they'll listen to calls.
I have some sources on the inside, and by that I mean Vikings Twitter, just like incels, and there's this guy. Shout to Shredder. His his name is
Ravens Twitter's
just
a wild place, man. I'm sure
dude. The
every fan
NFL,
base is,
yeah,
but
it's crazy. But this guy's been saying the deal's been done for us to trade up to 3 for like a month now. He just
right,
keeps tweeting like the deal's been done. They just don't want to announce it yet. Deal's done.
right.
Deal's done. What if that deal comes to fruition? What what's too much? Like, take away what they are going to be, but if we have our sights on a guy, we say we want Drake May, say we want JJ, whoever it is, what's too much? Because I
It's a
think
cop
we'll give
out.
up 11-23 next year's first. I'm okay
This
with
is
that.
such a cop out answer, but it is the real answer. It depends how good that guy turns out. Because if you have your guy for the next 10 years, you can give up your next 5 first round picks and it's worth it. If
Yeah.
the guy sucks, then it's a terrible all-time bad trade. That's just how these things work. Where like if the Vikings believe that he is the guy, do it. I don't care what you give up, do it. But if it doesn't work, you set your organization back at least 5 years.
Yeah,
But if it works, boom, your organization's up for the
I
next
know.
10.
I also think we have such a good infrastructure in place where whoever we take, and this could be very biased on my part, but you can tell me if I'm wrong. I feel like the floor is the lowest if you get drafted for the Vikings, no matter who you are, because we have the weapons, we have the play calling, we have
Out of who
everything.
you mean
Like
of like
your
the 3
floor
other teams?
automatically, yeah, out of Patriots, Commanders,
Yeah,
Bears, even you would want if you're Caleb, if you got to choose a team, I think you'd choose the Vikings. If he could
I
have just
think it's
handpick what situation.
either the Bears or the Vikings, one of the two. I definitely, I mean, yeah, take your pick on those two. That's fair.
Gotcha. What's now I'm gonna play devil's advocate to myself here. What's the worst case scenario for my Vikings? Is it not being able to trade up and sitting at 11? What's like the worst night possible for me? I want to brace myself.
Just build up the defense and that's it. Which honestly, like I see the reasoning behind doing something like that where you don't feel you look at your division and you say, all right, it this might be tough this year with a rookie quarterback. With no matter how good this rookie is, if it's a rookie, usually that's tough. Why don't we build up and get a guy when we really like somebody? When there's all right, like this is the guy to bring in. And I see that, I understand that, but you only get so many opportunities to take a quarterback.
This fan base would riot
Yeah,
if we don't have a if we end if I go to sleep Thursday without a quarterback, I might not wake up. We got to get a quarterback.
and you know what? I've heard it, and it's like, I mean that Sam Darnold is so much younger than people realize.
Oh yeah.
He's
It's
not good.
wild.
He's not good. I don't think he is, but he is so much younger than people think, and he did spend like this is the devil's advocate where it's like he spent a year under Kyle Shanahan.
Mhm.
The very little we saw of him in San Francisco last year, it wasn't bad. And Kevin O'Connell, like the offense, you have Justin Jefferson. Like you can talk yourself into
Yeah.
Sam Darnold making your team watchable this year. But I don't know. The Vikings are a
Yeah.
very weird team to talk about.
Yeah, it's welcome to my world. We'll get off the Vikings for a little bit. Um, who who's the safest pick in this draft? Where if
Other
your
than
team takes
Caleb.
him, other than Caleb, I don't even know if like I would consider him safe. Is just like the obvious
Oh,
like
oh, I
get
see what
your
you're asking now.
like who's the most surefire? This dude is going to like his floor is the highest. Or you draft him, he'll be fine.
Marvin Harrison Jr.
Really, he's that good.
He is. Yeah. I'll tell you what. This is not an answer to this question, but I want to get this
Yeah,
out here because I love this guy, and I think he is the best defensive player in the draft. And it's Laiatu Latu. This guy,
UCLA, right? Am I
yep,
wrong? Oh yeah.
so good. Now he's got health problems. The dude medically retired from football a few years ago.
Whoa.
Like it. There's real health concerns here, whether or not the guy can stay healthy. I mean, the guy literally retired because of health issues. But he has been the single best pass rusher in college football ever since coming back 2 years ago. Literally the best for over the last 2 seasons. And he is, as a pass rusher, is about as polished as I've ever seen a rookie. He's not a great run stopper, and he has health problems. So there is definitely a boomer bust factor here. But I think he's really good. And
All right.
part of me is like, hey, my all-time, I have a little streak going. Because forever, the Ravens never drafted the guy that I wanted.
Yeah.
21, I wanted Bateman, we got him. 23, I wanted Zay, and we got him. 22 is the best year because the guy I wanted was Tyler Linderbaum at 14. But I had Kyle Hamilton as my number 1 overall player on the entire draft. I said he's a top 5 caliber pick. We then got Hamilton at 14 and then traded Hollywood and got Linderbaum there, and they're both all-pro
Damn.
players 2 years in. So I got a little streak here. The guy I want this year is Tyler Guyton from
Okay.
Oklahoma. But the Kyle Hamilton of this year, even though he's not my number 1 overall player, is kind of a lot too. Whereas, like, he's not going to be there. I'd be
Yeah.
stunned if he's sitting there. He should be a top 10 pick. He'll probably be a top 15 pick. But if teams are worried and he's sitting there, because we need pass rush, I would love
There
it.
you go. Is there anything that could happen on Thursday evening that totally shocks you? Like something within reason. Obviously, something crazy could happen. But is there anything that could potentially happen? You could see a future, but it would still be shocking.
I'm not sure how shocking this would be, but the Giants trading up and taking a quarterback is something that I've heard a lot of people talk about. Where that's
Yeah.
interesting. I'll throw another team out there for a quarterback because they did bring in Minshew and they have Aiden O'Connell, but it's the Raiders. Like, I don't know. It's something.
I like
feels-
O'Connell. I
don't.
Though. He's a Purdue guy. So he's an indie guy.
Yeah.
So I'll root for him. Dude's just a gunslinger. He'll just air it out.
Yeah, there's one. Non-quarterback though. The Chargers are a weird team too. I don't know what they're gonna do because they
believe in Harbaugh.
What?
You believe in Harbaugh?
Listen, they're the LA Ravens right now. Their front office is filled with former Ravens guys. Their GMs, Joe Ortiz, who was with us for literally 20 years. Obviously Jim Harbaugh. Greg Roman's the offensive coordinator. Good luck, Chargers fans. You got Gus Edwards and J.K. Dobbins there, but their front, Bradley Bozeman signed there, and there's so many others, but their front office is literally the Ravens, like, over the years. So I believe I've seen it work. I mean, the Ravens have been, yes, they've struggled to get over the hump, but they have been a consistent winner for 25 years.
Yeah. That's the dream.
You can count on one hand the amount of losing seasons the Ravens have had in my lifetime. So, yes, there's seasons where they've had missed opportunities. 2019, definitely this past year where they should have won the Super Bowl, but they have won 2. And in my lifetime, they've literally had like 3 or 4 seasons where they actually finished under 500.
Yeah.
So they know how to build up an organization. And they love the Ozzie Newsome approach. Best player available. Joe Alt, sitting there.
Yeah.
He's another answer for Marvin Harrison Jr. I talk about. Joe Alt's another one where, like, he's going to be
feels
good.
like a lock.
He's going to be real good. So, I don't know.
Where do the Broncos stand here? It feels like they're a team that they'd move up if they could.
Question mark.
They don't have the capital to move up, but I feel like they would if they could, like we can.
Yeah.
I can't stand Sean Payton. He's like my least favorite person in the entire NFL. Just he mocked the skull chant right before the Minneapolis Miracle. Suck on that, Saints fans. We literally own New Orleans. Walk-off touchdown, Kyle Rudolph. So Sean Payton's a scumbag. I hate him, but I want to see them fail. But
Jarrett Stidham is their quarterback right now.
That's crazy.
Like, you guys are worried about Sam Darnold. They got Jarrett Stidham right now, and they don't have ammo to move up.
Yeah.
They are my biggest question mark because I have no idea what they're going to do because they don't have a 2nd round pick. They don't have a 3rd round pick either, I believe.
Jeez.
So, and they pick after Minnesota. So if in a perfect world a quarterback falls to you guys, they're going to take them.
Yeah.
No, they won't. I have no idea what Denver's going to do. And I don't know. I really don't know.
Yeah.
They're a really weird team, and they're another team that could shake up the entire draft because no one knows what they're gonna do.
Yeah. I think that's my consolation is how I convince myself I'll be okay is like at least I'm not a Broncos fan.
Yeah.
It could be worse. As bad as I think it is right now, it could very well be worse. I still have Justin Jefferson. I
They
trust
have
our
not
front
made the
office.
playoffs since winning the Super Bowl.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Wow. That's
Since winning the Super
crazy.
Bowl, they have not made the playoffs.
That's
If
crazy.
you are 12 or
Yeah.
13, the Broncos have been bad
Bad.
most of your life.
Yeah. Damn. That's tough.
Like, that's reality. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, like, the year I got into football, 2014, 2015, when they won that Super Bowl.
Mhm.
And so I remember that because I saw it. But then it was right after, just everything's falling apart in Denver.
Yeah. They're kind of like for you, they're my Steelers. So the obviously they're obviously better. They've been
And
more competitive.
they have never had a losing season under Mike
Yeah.
Tomlin.
Well, I can't like
It's so
I
incredible.
struggle to understand how it would be to be a Steelers fan because obviously when I was little they had Super Bowl runs and they were in it. And now they're just kind of there. They're a placeholder for people to just like leap over. And that
And
would
for
almost
us,
be
when they
worse.
went like the these Ravens Steelers games, oh my god. Because we will outplay them, but not get in the end zone. But we'll outplay them the whole
Yeah.
game, and then we'll lose 13-10. And but that's what they do, and
But
they're
you guys make
good.
AFC Championship games recently.
I
Like you
don't
guys are
but
still winning more.
but we're 1-7 against the Steelers in our last 8
Oh,
games. And
that hurts.
Steelers fans, and now the platform that I have, and if you like someone like Birch, the same thing with Packers fans. Obviously,
Mhm.
the Ravens are the fan base that I have more followers from than any other fan base. But the
Yeah.
second most followers I have from any fan base is Steelers fans. So they are
Ruthless.
like they own you. We own you. We own you.
Yeah.
Like I was telling my friend that part of me, if we go 10-7, go one and done, and we sweep the Steelers,
It's a
part of me
win.
is like, we'll take it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm
Yeah.
so sick of losing to them
It's me and
because
the Packers.
that
Yeah.
rivalry is real. It is one of the few rivalries that is still very real. And now with Patrick
Mhm.
Queen going over there, whew, let me tell you, and I know my video blew up on it, but I have never seen this fan base so upset at a player for leaving ever. And I'm right there with him. Because it's not like, and Ravens fans want to tell themselves that Roquan made him. And listen, Roquan turbocharged him. He wouldn't be the same player without Roquan. But the reason why we're so upset is because he's a damn good player.
Yeah.
We're gonna miss him.
If he was washed, he wouldn't care.
Yeah. Now, I do like Trenton Simpson. I'm excited for him because I think he's gonna be good. But man, when PQ comes to Baltimore this year with Roquan, country boy Roquan, who I love that guy, by the way.
Yeah.
He is awesome. But oh man, I'm so excited for when Derrick Henry, Lamar Jackson meet him. And just I
Oh
don't
my
know, it's
gosh,
gonna be
it's
interesting.
Derrick Henry. I spaced that.
Baltimore
Free agent.
Ravens running back Derrick Henry. It's
That's
awesome.
crazy. That's nuts. Oh,
I'll
that's
tell
gonna be
you what
so
though,
nice.
everyone's talking about Lamar and Henry as they should. The duo you guys should really be scared of is Patrick Ricard and Derrick Henry. That fullback, a guy like that blocking for Derrick Henry, that's gonna be fun. I'm real excited
Damn.
for that. But
That's awesome.
yeah.
You and Michael have obviously been around a lot of these players. You guys went to like Senior Bowl, right?
Yeah.
Awesome. So you've been around, you've got to talk to some of these players. Is there
Yeah.
anything interesting you've learned where like I like or even if like, hey, this guy's a cool dude. I want
All
him on
right,
my
I'll
team.
give you one right here. Brennan
Yeah.
Jackson.
All
This kid,
right.
Washington State. And if we need a pass rusher, and I'm thinking we're gonna draft one around 4 or 5, which is probably around where he's gonna go. He told us that we can kind of do stuff together if we get him. And
There
I
you
know he's
go.
met with the Ravens. So never know, but there obviously there's a 1 in 32 chance there. Another
Yeah.
one, same thing. These pass rushers were awesome. Another guy, Marshawn Nealand, who actually is getting a lot of buzz right now as kind of that like second round, late first round. Like
All right.
he could be like this year's like he's a first round pick guy, but he's awesome. Love
Hmm.
him. Um, Another just cool guy. Um, those two like really stand out. Actually, last year at the draft when we did talk to the players, you know who was so cool and so funny? Jordan Addison.
Hell yeah. That's my
Hilarious.
guy. He's the best. He's awesome.
He This was like such a weird thing because I was there. He's talking to me. He literally because I'm tiny, so like
Yeah.
everyone towers over me. So he like has like his arm like here like on my shoulder, and he's like talking to me, and then he has this football card signed by Bijan in his hand, and like we're just talking, and he's like, and we're in interview, he's talking about just guys he likes. The card's like, you know who this guy is? It's like, yeah, it's Bijan. It's like, this guy's awesome. He's gonna be so good. It's like, okay, all right, Jordan Addison, like
I love
so
him so
funny.
much, dude. That's the thing. I love this team so much. We just don't have a quarterback, but I'm
Yeah.
not gonna. We won't go down that road. Um, is there anyone who you can call him out now? Like kind of a dick, and you're like, hey, I don't like you. I'm not rooting for you in the league.
Honestly, no.
Really good. Good for them. Honestly, they were raised right. Love
Yeah,
that.
they're not yeah, not really. There was
What
not
about people in the media? Do they look at you guys like, all right, these kids, what are we
well, the
doing?
Senior Bowl was totally different than the draft. The Senior Bowl was way more people our age and around our age, college age type kids. Um, the draft we were by far the youngest people there. Michael
Yeah.
was in that press room during the draft. I was at the draft. I was live there at the actual draft. Michael was there because he did the press conferences and all that. I know everyone was like, "Who is this kid and why is he like asking great questions?" Like they were all impressed by him.
Yeah.
I'm sure there were some like that, but I don't know. Um, but it was the draft was definitely like we were we were the by far like the youngest people. The Senior Bowl was not like that, so that kind of wasn't the thing. But yeah,
That's cool. I mean, again, you guys are doing awesome stuff. It's really cool. Um,
trying to build back up.
yeah. Yeah.
Moments
What's
and
the situation now? You've lost some accounts. TikTok is
it's been a
annoying.
year and a half since that ban. At this point, that number 152.6 is forever etched in my
Yeah.
head as like that number that I want to get back to. We're at
Man.
53K right now, so we're like 100K away, but it's like we've kind of been stuck around there for a while.
Yeah.
Um,
Honestly, I not to like
ugh,
whatever, but I think that's so normal right now is
yeah,
you're realizing follower account like the follower number means nothing on TikTok. Like
yeah,
no
but
because
I want
how
those numbers
I
back.
know it's a personal thing, but like the follower number, like because think how many times do you actually go through and see the people you follow and go through that following tab on
Yeah,
TikTok? People
yeah,
aren't doing that. And it's all if you look at the analytics, I'm sure yours is probably the same. If I look at any video I've ever posted, more than 50%, closer to almost
yeah,
90% of the people who are seeing it aren't followers. They're just seeing it in their feed. They're not seeing it in
yeah.
the following
It's
page.
true. But
So yeah.
our numbers on videos have been a little down recently, like in
Yeah.
the last couple months, just as a whole. So we're trying to. I want to build that back up so bad. I had
Yeah.
like it that ban is. I will never ever ever get over that. I took that
Yeah.
way harder than Michael did. Like Michael was. I mean, he was upset, but like I was crushed. I'm
Yeah.
I will never get over that.
Yeah, I'm
But
sure it's infuriating. Yeah.
yeah, where it's like and because that's like, we gotta get back to that number.
Mhm.
And then it's been interesting, but
Yeah, it's
we're
just
still
one of
building.
those. Yeah, you guys are doing fine. You guys are doing
Yeah,
like not just fine. You guys are doing incredible with what you guys do.
appreciate that.
And I think it's one of those moments probably for you where you realize everything I'm doing. There's also like you don't realize you have a boss, right? You need those platforms. You need the TikTok, the YouTube. So when they step in and do something out of your control,
Mhm.
it's like that first moment of like, oh, I'm not fully in charge here.
Yep,
I'm still kind of
yep,
like, they still kind of
yeah,
control that aspect, even though you have all creative control,
right.
you forget that sometimes, and I'm the same way, like, with YouTube, TikTok. YouTube goes down, I'm not
It's true.
screwed, but you gotta shift, and
It's very
it's
true.
tough to realize that when you do what we do because we
Your
have all this freedom.
your stuff too is like because the stuff you do is very different than a lot of other people. Because I mean, like your Bachelor show
Oh,
and
dude, I
stuff.
love that. Love it.
So I'll tell you, I never was like a Bachelor fan.
Yeah.
But I will tell you the one show, and actually types of shows I've watched longer than football. I mean, I'm talking since I was 5, 6 years old. America's Got Talent, loved
Yeah.
it. Been watching it my whole life.
Hell yeah.
And like this year, I got into American Idol, and but it's like these shows I have watched literally my whole life. So it's cool to like, or it's like it's just kind of random stuff like that that's in that sphere. I like
Yeah.
seeing it's interesting. And I know my sister's 12, 13.
Uh-huh.
So I've been telling her that like I told her the other day, I was like, you would love The Bachelor. So
Oh,
it's
yeah.
funny that you got all that stuff, and it's so you never see like someone like you like talk about the show like that. And it's
Yeah,
cool.
that and, like, that's my favorite thing about the show is I feel like, it's like, I genuinely do like, some people think, like, "Oh, it's not, like, a joke or whatever, or it's weird that I'm watching The Bachelor." I genuinely enjoy the show, like, it's
If it's
very fun.
entertaining, it's entertaining.
It's so entertaining, and the people who cover the show, who cover The Bachelor,
Yeah.
outside of us, matchmakers, they have a very different approach. Not to say it's wrong, but their approach is way more journalistic, like, "Let's break down the
Right.
body language. What does this drama really mean?" And me and Michael, my co-host with that show, with Matchmakers, we're going in like, "This is entertainment. Let's joke about it. Let's have
Yeah.
fun with it. Let's poke fun at it, but also, like, poke fun of ourselves watching it." And I just think there's a niche there in the reality
Yeah.
television market that we kind of fill. Because I mean, we're two straight guys talking about The Bachelor.
Right.
That in itself is like
Yeah.
rare.
Yeah, it is.
Like, which I think there's a lot more of us out there who don't want to admit it. They're like, hey, I kind of like The Bachelor.
Oh, of
So
course.
we're just kind of the voice for those people. And I think I've been really impressed just with how much people have gravitated towards it. And it's been
Yeah.
really fun to
Oh,
grow
I mean,
that
a lot of
show.
your content is like that, where like it's not the stuff you would see.
You wouldn't expect it.
Yeah. But that's the whole thing. Like that's the whole reason why it works.
Yeah. And
It's
like
not
I enjoy it. So like that it's not just like putting on a front. Like I genuinely
that's all
enjoy
that
it.
honestly matters too.
Yeah,
Where it's like,
exactly.
yeah,
And then
fun. Who cares?
I can come on here and then talk about the Vikings for an hour. I could go on
Right.
and on. And like that I'm probably the only person in the world. There was a moment where Monday Night Football was lining
Yeah,
up
I
with
saw this post in the
Bachelor.
story. It made me laugh
Yeah.
so hard.
And I was like, I'm probably the only person in the world who has to do like split screen Monday Night Football, Bachelor in Paradise, Golden Bachelor. Like I'm like one of the few people you can count on one hand the people who
Yeah,
care about both, which is
I'm
it's
sure
a fun overlap.
it
But
is.
we turn into a fantasy league too. We draft the players
Yeah.
beforehand, and they get points for kisses. They get points for starting drama, like
It's
stuff like
so
that.
funny.
It's awesome. It's so fun.
That is funny. Have you ever like watched those shows where it's like the talent like competitions? I love that stuff.
Yes, but never
Not the
like
same.
a full season. You know what I mean? I'm like, I'll watch an episode if it's on. I'm like, enjoy
Yeah,
this, but I'm never like American Idol. I was very into early on, and
yeah,
then my parents started getting back into it recently this past season. But
yeah. I'll tell you seriously, the way you are with The Bachelor, like that's the way I am with America's Got Talent in
hell
particular.
yeah,
Like, I love that show, and American Idol. This is the first year I watched it, just because like I saw because they do really well on TikTok, like their clips.
yeah,
So they
oh yeah,
started popping up, and it's like, all right, I might give the show a try. And I also like because it's refreshing because it's not the one thing I've gotten tired of with these Got Talent shows is it feels less and less real now. It's
yeah,
feeling more and more the whole thing that because it's the same genre, but the stuff that kind of turned me off about a show like The Bachelor is it seems too fake for me. Like I
yeah,
can't like it there so much of it just seems like that's not real. That's that
yeah,
Like if it was more real, I'd probably watch it. But it does like it if you sit down yeah, I just don't believe you. I'm
yeah.
sorry.
Oh yeah,
And
that's the
yeah,
argument. Everyone's like, oh, but it's so fake. It's like, yeah, but it's funny. Like it's,
yeah,
and then having talked with a lot of people who are on the show, you get a better insight on
yeah.
what really goes on behind the scenes, which is probably why ABC doesn't like us very much. And so similar
Oh,
situation that
they've
you
re have
have.
they've heard about you
Well,
guys?
yeah, we get denied. So like they're under contract. These people are under contract for the
Ah,
show. Um, And so
Right.
when we ask to get them on, they have to get permission from like
Mm,
ABC or the producers, and
right.
we get denied like 99 times out of 100. It's very rare where we can
Interesting.
get a guest. So that's why we interviewed Maria, her dad. Her dad watched our show, and so we're like, "Hey, you're not under contract. Want to come on?" And he came on. He was fantastic, and all the people like I
That's
don't
great.
blame the
Yeah.
producers. Like they have their own bachelor podcasts, so they want to keep everything
Oh,
in
I bet.
house. So
Well,
they
then,
do all
yeah,
those shows.
there you go.
Yeah, and our vibe is a little different. We
Right.
poke fun, but we kind of do it equally. So
Right.
like we'll take it too. If you make fun of us, we're dumb people.
Yeah.
Like we're very dumb. So
Same thing where it's like, I'm getting sick of Simon Cowell going every time. It's like, "No, you're not that impressed." Like,
yeah,
you're supposed he's went from, like, being the mean judge to he's not at all. Like,
yeah.
Howie is more mean now than than Simon
Interesting.
Cowell. So,
I can't even picture Simon Cowell on America's Got Talent because I always think of him
yeah. Well, he
with
created the
Idol.
whole he created it.
I
It's
know, and
his
but
yeah,
I think Simon Cowell, I think Idol, and I
yeah,
guess I haven't watched America's Got Talent in a long time.
yeah,
But the thing with Idol I've noticed is, e you start to see what they're doing is every person who's kind of successful in Idol already has a decent following on
yeah.
TikTok. They're
Yep.
usually like not
They're smart.
stars, but like, hey, let's get these people who have a following on the show. They'll promote the show, and then
Yeah.
everything rises with it.
And
So
I'll tell
it
you
makes
what,
sense.
I mean, I haven't watched Idol before this year, so I don't know if there's been I mean, I know that Kelly Clarkson, like, Carrie Underwood on the show, but,
Yeah,
like, I didn't it's not well, I wasn't born when those were on when they were on, but, um,
that's crazy. That was a crazy sentence you just tossed in there. I totally forgot
yeah.
how young you
I
are.
was born in '04.
That's crazy. Oh.
That's what else is crazy is that, like, there's an NBA player, Gigi Jackson, who I'm a month older than.
It's gonna start happening, man. You're
Yeah,
at the
the
age
NBA
where
draft class this year is my
mhm.
year.
That was my Zion year. Zion's
Yeah,
class was my year. I was like, "Oh,
but
shit."
even, like, there's one guy in the NFL draft this year, Braylon Allen, who's he's '03,
Jeez.
so
I
he's
remember him,
year
his
before.
first year at Wisconsin, he was like people were like, "He's like 16." Like,
Yeah,
he was so young. It was
yeah,
ridiculous.
but so but what I was saying before, I don't know about previous years, but at least judging off these got talent, there's one girl on the show this year named Abby Carter. She might be the best singer I've ever heard on any of these shows.
Hell yeah.
But now what I've done is I now get invested in like seeing like these acts that I remember watching on AGT, and it's like, oh,
Mhm.
you're doing well. Like they're at the draft in Detroit performing on like night 2 or 3 is going to be Terry Crews' Golden Buzzer from like 2019 that I remember. Detroit
Nice.
Youth Choir. And Michael was like, "Oh, the performers aren't that good this year," and they're like, "Yeah, they're not." But um, when he went through the list, and like, yeah, like Big Sean's like the biggest name, which shocked me. Like Eminem is not performing at the draft,
That's weird. Yeah.
which is weird because he is going to be there and he is helping them promote it, but he's not
Yeah.
performing. But he was, um, he he's like going through the names, and then he goes, and then there's like this choir from Detroit. He's like, "Hold on, who is it?"
You're good.
It's like I know them.
That's awesome.
It's
I
really
just
fun.
so that Abby Carter girl, she did the What Was I Made For cover. I
Yes,
saw that audition. Yeah, I'm up
she's
there with you.
incredible.
Give her the win. Just give her the win
She's
already.
unbelievable. You
Yeah.
know who else is really good as a judge, and what I gravitated on this show because it's even though they're like the sob stories and all that, which I don't love,
Mhm.
they are they at least they produce it better where it feels real. Katy Perry is amazing.
From what I've seen, she's awesome. That dynamic between all the judges is
Well,
actually
not
very
yeah,
good right
I'm
now.
annoyed that I got into it the year that she's leaving.
Oh, she's out?
She after this year, yeah, she's
I
gone
didn't
after this
know
year.
that. Have they announced who's taking over?
No,
Ooh, who
but
would be good?
I don't know because the reason why I like the show is the dynamic feels real and it doesn't. I don't want them to take away from that.
Could
They
they
need
get Kelly Clarkson? She'd
I
be
would
great.
here's the thing, she has a talk show
Yeah, I
on
know. I don't know if they're
NBC,
is it on ABC?
NBC,
Oh, there it is. Yeah.
and she's done, like, The Voice, which is the one of those shows that I never
Oh,
really
yeah.
got into, but, no, but if I were ABC, I would throw literally all of the money.
Mhm.
Just, "What do you want? We'll double it. We
Yeah.
need you," because she's hilarious, and she's except for when she hosted the NFL Honors, she was not funny. And that was
I feel like
that was bad.
that's a tough gig too. I feel
Yeah.
like some of those some of those award shows, you're never gonna win hosting it.
Keegan-Michael Key does a good job. Steve Harvey does a good
Yeah.
job, though, those ones.
There's,
But
like, a
yeah, like
handful
the
of people who
actual
can do
award
it.
shows, like who was the comedian that got like
Oh, Joe
destroyed?
Coy at
Yeah,
the, not the Oscars, the Golden Globes.
they like
Joe Coy was so bad.
they hated him.
I watched it, and I
Was
didn't
he that
realize how
bad,
bad
or was he just, or were people mad that he had just offended people?
it was bad. It wasn't
It
like
was just he just wasn't funny.
yeah, it wasn't funny, and then when roasts aren't funny, it turns
Yeah,
bad quick,
yeah.
and you could
Like
tell.
Ricky Gervais has the best.
Yeah,
That was it's funny.
he
See,
was
this is the
great, and
shit
then he
I don't talk about anywhere because no
right?
one else like cares.
I forget who hosted the Oscars this year.
But that's
It
the
was
whole thing.
Kimmel, it was Kimmel.
I don't those award shows and stuff. I don't watch them, but then if they pop up on like my YouTube recommended, I'll watch them on a log.
Yeah. So
But
I'm a huge movie guy, so the Oscars is like
right,
my mini
that's where
Super
like
Bowl.
I'm not really,
Yeah.
but I'm able to know enough where I can follow. Like I'm a casual fan. There
Yeah.
you go,
Yeah.
same thing. Where it's like I I don't care enough to really go into it, and because I mean I've told people this my whole life, where it's like this whole football thing. Let's call it what it is. It's like it's like an addiction where I have a
Yeah.
very like addictive personality, where like if I like something, I am gonna do a deep dive and I'm gonna know everything there is to know about it. So when there's something that I kind of like, but I'm not don't care enough to do like this whole deep dive, I feel like, all right, I don't really like this that much. Even where it's like, I probably know more about it than the average person, but in my head, I don't because I haven't done this extensive deep dive into the show or into the NFL like the way. Like, oh, I know everything there is to know about the NFL. I can tell you every player, every team. I can do it. Where it's like, nah, I if I don't have that want to do that deep dive, I'm gonna go away
Mhm.
from it pretty quickly.
Yeah.
You know?
No, I kinda like too how you have that America's Got Talent, like, you're really into that, just
Yeah.
because it is nice, and I try to do this with movies. I go to movies every Wednesday, Flicks Brewhouse right by my house, love it,
Mhm.
it's the best. But I try to almost not create content and, like, perform or do videos about
Yeah.
movies, even though I love it so much, because it's nice to have one thing. Because this is like work that we do. We
Right.
talk about stuff all the time that we care about. It's nice to have like one thing where I'm like, this is like my hobby.
Yeah.
Like I enjoy like it's
True.
weird. It's hard when you do what we do and we're constantly like on camera and talking about things that we care about to have hobbies.
That's
Right? Like
true.
if someone asked you what your hobby is, you'd be like, football. I
Right.
don't know. Do you have
No, and
other stuff?
I've had that conversation with so many people where
Yeah.
it's like, "So what else do you do?" I was like, "What do you mean?
Yeah, I was like, "Yo, what do you
What
mean?
what
Like, this is
what are
what
you
I do. You
talking about?"
see what I do." So it's been nice to have that one thing where I'm like, "This is kind of my hobby. I like going to the
Mhm.
movies by myself,
Yeah.
turn the cameras off, turn the phone off for a couple hours and lock in."
Yeah. And it's also like there's few things I'm gonna wanna like if you're like, I'm not gonna what's that, camera or something?
Yeah, the camera, the battery dies so quick. I have so many backups, but it is what it is.
ADHD confused me. It's like, "Oh, bro."
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, we will kind of wrap up here. I want
Yeah.
to put you on the spot. I
Okay.
want to have you make some predictions. If they're right, I'll clip it, put it out. If they're
There we
wrong,
go.
I'll clip it, put it out.
Michael used the clip. Do you remember when we came on a couple years ago and he was like,
Yeah, we was talking about Matt Ryan, right?
no, when he was talking about like this season's gonna be good, but next season is gonna be the best season ever. What are you talking about? He used that clip as like the opening to our kickoff show this year. It was like, I'm telling you, this year is gonna be amazing. Actually, it was. It was a great year.
Yeah.
But it's like, all right, Michael.
He was
But
right about Matt Ryan too. He had a clip on our show
yeah,
where he's like, Matt Ryan will be like the worst quarterback in the NFL, and he
I was
was
annoyed at him
very
for that
close
because
to
he stole my take.
that. There you go.
But
That probably happens a lot between you guys. You guys just like try
no,
to
we the whole reason why we're good is we do not have similar takes.
that works then. Yeah.
I'll tell you the guy that I get annoyed at all the time for stealing my takes is Nico, Elite Takes.
Yeah.
I will scroll. It's like, all right, this video. It's like, yep, yeah, no, I 1000% agree with you with everything that you're saying. And then I can't make a video about it. It's like you're copying Nico. Well,
That's
he
fair.
also he's really good, Nico. He's
Yeah.
great.
He just like you can tell he knows what he's
He really
talking about.
does.
Yeah.
He has
I'll yeah.
he has more X's and O's knowledge than I do, which is like the area
Mhm.
that I'm lacking in because I never played.
Yeah.
So I don't know if he did either. But I've like the guys like the Brett Colemans of the world where it's like I want to that's the one area that I don't have that I've been
Yeah.
kind of trying to get more and more of because I can you give me an NFL trivia question, I'm gonna know the answer to it. You're gonna tell me how good a player is. I can tell you all the stats about him. I can but I'm good at patterns. Where it's
Yeah.
like I'm able because that's kind of what I rely on, where I can call out plays before they happen, but it's not because it's not because I know it football wise, because I see a pattern.
Yeah, you've
Like,
seen enough ball to know, like,
yeah,
this is how things
but
work,
I
you
don't
know?
always know the terminology behind it. And it's like,
Yeah.
how'd you know that? It's like sometimes I can give you the detailed X's and O's breakdown because I know enough.
Yeah.
But usually it's like, yeah, well, last time they had this guy line up here, he did this. He's gonna do it again. Let's see. And then he
Yeah,
does. It's like,
you might not be studying tape, but you're sitting on your couch watching football,
right,
like, for 12 hours on
right.
Sundays,
You're
like,
gonna pick up on some
it's the
things.
same thing, you're gonna learn something. I
Yeah.
need to connect with your boy, Burns, the Bears
We got
fans,
our
because
show at 3.
I
I'll do
listen,
that. I think
I'll
you
s
you'd
I'll
love it.
shit on the Bears all he wants, he can shit on the Vikings, but, again, the Bears will be the Bears until they're
Yeah,
not. So you can be as excited as you want about Caleb Williams, the Bears.
yeah.
Doesn't matter. So, but yeah, I would love to talk shit with him at some point.
He would
Um
he'd be good on this show too.
All right. I'll have you two predictions since we're talking about the draft. I want an offensive rookie of the year. I want a defensive rookie of the year.
Ooh. Ooh. Because these are so tough because it really is so like dependent on where you go.
Yeah.
Um
You can pair a guy with a team too. You can say if
yeah.
this guy goes here, he'll win rookie of the year.
Hmm. It's tough. I'll give you that Latu. I love him.
All right.
If he goes to the Rams,
Oh.
I I would really like to see that. I would Latu on the Rams, I think would be a really good fit. Um and then yeah, that's one I'll stick with for there. And then offense, that's really tough.
Yeah, it's because the quarterbacks. There's a few that could sit for a little
Yeah,
bit. Feels like Caleb and Jaden are the only ones guaranteed to really
yeah.
start right away.
I'll tell you this: where Marv is the best receiver in this draft, but part of me thinks that Malik Neighbors is going to have like a really good rookie year and like just
Hmm.
burst on the scene because he's so fast. Like
Yeah.
if like Neighbors anywhere Neighbors could go and be the wide receiver one immediately, he could do it. Marv could obviously do it. I think Marv is better than Neighbors, but I think I just for some reason have a feeling that Neighbors are just gonna burst on the scene
Yeah.
immediately and have like Neighbors is gonna be the guy that's gonna have 100 yards in weeks 1, 2, and 3, and you're like,
Oh.
whoa, who is this guy? And he'll be good all year, but like he's gonna start like unbelievable.
Yeah.
Whereas like
And I like that. It's just so hard for a receiver to win because as if Caleb Williams is decent, they'll give it to him. That's what happened with Justin Jefferson. He had one of the best rookie seasons ever, but they just gave it to Herbert because like I'm
that's
a
a take I
quarterback.
look back on. And I was like, what was I thinking? Because I was on the Herbert train that year, and I look
I
back, I
was.
was like,
I think
what?
I argued with this. I think I argued with you about this probably. You were
I
like
look
Herbert's.
back on, it, I was like,
Yeah.
why did I? What? Where was I going? I don't even remember.
I mean,
But
Herbert was incredible his
he
rookie year. Like
was, but
he was.
Justin Jefferson had maybe the best rookie
Yeah.
season ever for a
Yeah.
receiver.
And everyone was like, well, he's a quarterback, and at that point, it's just a quarterback award.
If
But
Blake Corum goes I was about to say Blake Corum, the Chargers. They got J.K. and Gus now.
yeah,
Man,
yeah. All
I
right.
always had
Well,
Blake Corum penciled in there. Now I got to think about reason. Yeah.
um, let people know where they should find you. Obviously, draft coverage coming up. I'm
Yeah.
excited to see it. So where should they look out for that?
Main platforms are TikTok in particular, the Next Network, Next Dot Network, if you want to, but it'll pop up on the Next
Yeah.
Network. Twitch, Instagram, and we are trying to grow the YouTube. I have done our YouTube page has been me because honestly, I think the best content that I make is the stadium vlogs that I do. I film like pretty much the entire game, my reactions, and then I edit it down and put it on YouTube. I've been doing that since 21. And I think it's some of the best content I've made, but it hasn't like done very well until the
Yeah.
AFC Championship game blew up. Did very well in there. So, but I'm trying to grow the YouTube page, especially if I mean,
Yeah.
no one knows what's gonna happen
TikTok,
with
who
TikTok.
knows?
So I want to grow that, and I definitely, and we're gonna do a draft vlog, and we're gonna do it like that. So definitely subscribe to the YouTube because we're trying to build that up.
Hell
Instagram's
yeah.
doing well too. I'm trying to post as many reels as we can. From TikTok too. Just trying to get bigger on other platforms, and then
Hell yeah.
personally, Twitter, because I am very active on there, and it is so fucking hard to grow on there.
Yeah.
So great username, Josh_Berman123.
I
I've
love your Twitter, by the way,
I
because
have
every
that.
now and then I'll interact. Every now and then I'll be like, "What about my Vikings?"
Yeah. I have that common of a name, by the way, where I had to do one, two,
Two,
three,
three. Yeah.
because there was already a Josh_Berman_Berman 1, 2. Like as I had to do
All
one,
that.
two, three. But it's what I get as
Yeah.
the common name.
Awesome.
But yeah, that I want it's so hard to grow on there, and I'm so active on there. So follow me on
Mhm.
Twitter or X if
Awesome.
you want to pretend like you call it that.
No one does.
No.
Um, well, yeah, Josh, thanks so much for doing this.
Yeah,
Appreciate
it's
it.
fun, man.
I may need your help Thursday night. You'll be busy, but if stuff goes haywire for us, I'm gonna need you to just like, even if you think our
We'll
draft
put
is
you on
shitty,
TikTok live. We'll
yeah,
air it out.
I'll get on there. But you gotta like talk me off the ledge. If things don't go well, just pretend we got our guy. Like if we go defense, just tell me they're gonna be like Aaron Donalds. Like
Right.
I just need that from you because I trust your opinion.
Mhm.
I'm gonna need you to talk me off a ledge. But again, thanks for
Fair
doing
enough.
this. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, man, it's fun.